Well, guys, if you're already tired of seeing footage related to the UK protests, and you're tired of seeing the turmoil that's been created through mass immigration and the results of this and the disturbing news stories, I've got some bad news, because I don't think it's going to stop. I think it's only just started. I think it's going to get way, way worse. Way worse. But anyway, I'm just going to cover some of that today. I'm going to go through the reaction of some people outside of the UK, as well as some clips of why this might be happening. I mean, we all know why it's happening. We all know why it's happening. I can give you all the statistics. I can give you all the facts and stuff like this, but I've done it already. Just look at my previous videos. Channels like mine have been calling this out for quite a while, trying to warn people that this was obviously going to happen. But again, that's a moot point. Everyone has knew that this was going to happen. So there's no surprises here, apart from the Americans. They're quite surprised by this, but I don't think anyone in the UK is surprised by this. But let's just go through it and have a quick look.
And they're censoring the protests? So are there actual big protests going on? UK protests? Wait, why is nobody talking about this? What the fuck? They're getting censored? We have it bad here? Well, let's take a look at some of these.
Rain has really dampened things down. Until a short time ago,
they're gonna melt.
There were hundreds and hundreds of people here protesting outside the Brook Hotel. We're on the outskirts of Norwich, very much against the fact that asylum seekers are being put up inside that hotel. Then on the other...
Big mistake, bro. You got people that are homeless, but you're dealing with asylum seekers? You're worrying about asylum seekers? Why don't you give asylum to the people that are living in the country that can't fucking afford shit? Why don't you...
Now that's an American looking in on this, and immediately comes to the same rational conclusion that all of us also have. Why are we doing this to our own country, and why are we letting these people who don't like us and go after our children? Why are we giving them preferential treatment over our own homeless and over the needy in our own country? It's a very good question. Immediately, good question there.
You give them asylum first, then maybe you can think about the guys that live somewhere else. That's just me.
The side of the road, on the other side of the roundabout, was a group of people very much in support of those people who've come to this country, many of them on small boats. They actually left already. That was a planned ending at 3:15 before the rain really began. But actually, it had been going pretty peacefully. They were separated by the main road until, according to reports, someone from those supporting those inside the hotel crossed the road. They had their face apparently covered in a balaclava, and that caused an enormous surge of fury, with the protesters on this side pushing against the police, shouting.
Surely nothing bad will ever come of this, right? Surely there's no way this is going to turn into a problem, right?
No, dude, what are you talking about? It's all gonna just settle down. Everyone's just gonna go home once they've had this little protest out of their system. They're gonna go home and they're just gonna go back to work, and they're gonna forget all about their kids getting raped. Of course that's gonna happen.
There's no way.
And then there was a surge, maybe 100 meters or so up the road, and it appeared that someone was going to be arrested,
good. I thought
and
so.
that possibly a decision was made
I was worried for a minute
to do that. Since then, we've heard people coming past, beeping their horns in support.
It's like Kingdom of Heaven, bruv.
You can hear that now, but far fewer people here than there were. Now, I did have a chance to speak.
So he goes on, I can't exactly remember where it is, but he does mention that it's very suspicious that how, at the same time as these protests have kicked off, the UK government just releases an overwhelming censorship law that they will be able to use. They passed the online safety bill, right? And it was supposed to be about protecting children. The government is passing an online safety bill to protect children, while they're housing illegal migrants and child rapists in hotels within visual distance of schools. And they're actually using that online safety bill that's supposed to protect children to actually clamp down on free speech and stop broadcasters showing the riots and the protests. It's weird, that, isn't it? It's weird. They say it's for your children, and they say it's to protect you, but they're just using it to protect themselves and to cover up the mass crimes that have been going on in this country. Isn't that weird? Isn't that weird? It's almost like the government just lies to you all the time and is literally passing laws to silence you. And it's run by a confirmed socialist and Fabian who prefers Davos over Westminster. Weird. All weird coincidences.
To some people, many reluctant to go on camera, and certainly those supporting those in the hotel.
Hold up, wait a minute. Less voting, less people being able to vote, and you have this. Oh my God! Wait. So you telling me? Hold up, wait a minute. Are you telling me that this happened and is happening right now, and they just randomly happened to do that censorship law on the internet at the same time?
Even an American can spot the pattern. It's not even subtle anymore.
Thousands of people have gathered in Birmingham, the second largest city in the UK, for one of the most overt displays of discontent in recent years. The participants from all walks of life came together, proudly waving Union Jacks and St. George's flags, making it clear and decisive that they, the usually silent majority, would no longer stay quiet. Shouts of protest against Keir Starmer, along with the slogan "Free Tommy Robinson Now," echoed through the city centre.
I thought he got let.
Yeah, I don't know if this is new. This looks like old footage, right? That's a bit weird. Let's try and find something more recent. Asmongold can't really pick up on stuff like that because he's not English and he doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. But he has some good takes when it comes to this, like just off the cuff comments, like common sense things that you'd notice as an outsider. Things that we've been told not to notice, but are really obvious even to someone looking in from the outside.
Now, let's watch the video.
I can't listen to this fucking AI voice.
Sorry, but the Brits deserve this. They're the ones that caused the Palestinian problem with their white paper. They should fix this on their own. You're right that the British were instrumental in drawing the lines of Israel and Palestine. That's my understanding.
No, we weren't, actually. If we really want to think about this, then I don't think the people that made those decisions were British. Certainly not looking out for British interests, and it certainly wasn't the average Brit. In fact, I think the average Brit has been pretty hard done by throughout history, even by the UK itself. The UK has never treated its citizens very well. We've always lived in squalor. We've always been treated like shit. Obviously, there's a class system in the UK, so that we've always been actually looked down upon and treated like scum by the aristocracy. Fucking got it. Anyway, so the point is, we've always been looked down upon by the elitist twats in charge. We've never had the UK really acting in our best interests. Even during the Empire, we were just used as cattle and human waves to send into slaughter. I don't think the British people have ever really had a particularly good time or good relationship with the government. We used to get press ganged, for fuck's sake. And that was fine. No, I don't think we've had a particularly good relationship, and I don't think it's the British people's fault. And even the people that made that decision, they're long dead now. So why are you taking it out on the British public?
Standing in 1946 or 1947, I think that's definitely true. And they do bear accountability for that. I would say that the majority of, and this is my opinion, right? Is that the majority of interventionism that Europe and America has done around the world has been, I think it has been more of a destabilizing force than a stabilizing force. It's ancient.
No, I don't agree with you. I actually think it was a stabilizing force up until around 1997. You know, Clintons, George Bush, the endless wars, the mass destabilization of the Middle Eastern regions because of a certain push by a certain country, and a certain individual in particular who really fucking hates the Middle East with a passion. Never stops talking about it, but you'll have to find that one out on yourself.
In history now. Yeah, and also, by the way, here's another issue, and I agree with you. I agree with you in principle, and I think that it was bad, but you're not going to tell a guy that's 25 that he has to live with a blood debt because his grandfather's, father did something stupid. Again, you're never going to be able to win the hearts and minds of people by categorically condemning them as bad actors because of the nature of their birth. So it's stupid. Yeah, exactly. Like, none of the men in this protest were responsible for drawing the lines of Israel and Palestine.
And it's weird because they say, like, you have the bad actors that say that the British people deserve this because of slavery or colonialism. They ignore the fact that the British actually ended slavery, almost bankrupted the country doing so, but they ignore that. And they also ignore the fact that that also works both ways. So if you want to collectivize the guilt of the British, then the British can collectivize the guilt of the people that have been doing horrible things to our children. Not a good idea anymore, is it? Suddenly collectivizing guilt is dangerous, and the government will lock you up as a far-righter or some shit like this, because when they do it, it's fine, but when you do it, well, time to go to jail. But you have to understand, guys, that collectivization of guilt is bad, whoever does it. You can't do it to the British. You can't assume guilt for previous generations and a very select number of people that actually made the decision. You can't collectivize an entire nation and assign guilt to them for that, because if we do it, it's going to be very bad news for the people in our country that have allowed their people to do things to us. Do you understand do you understand that? Do you understand how that is a very bad road to walk down? You don't want to set that example. You don't want to set that precedent by blaming us for something that we didn't do, because we have a bunch of people in our country that have done things, very bad things, and they're still here. Just saying. Probably shouldn't do that.
So why should they accept and be okay with, damn, bro, they got slots right there, just like on the street. Holy.
Yeah, every high street in the UK has slot machines, gambling places, those pawn shops, or the goldsmiths. You can always buy gold or sell it. Usually sell it.
Shit.
Grooming gangs, vile predators who prey, they rape, they traffic and destroy lives.
I think this is one of the big reasons why this movement is gaining a lot of momentum, by the way, is because it's been able to successfully engage a lot of women, because they've been able to control the moral high ground of how is it justifiable or acceptable that you have these rape gangs or something like this. Again, I don't live there. I'm not an expert in this, but I hear this a million fucking times, and I hear it enough to where even if it isn't true to these people, it certainly fucking is. And
a lot of people don't realize this, but the reason that they go after women in particular, it's in the neo-Marxist playbook to create tension between men and women using feminism and attacking the nuclear family, making sure that women feel as though they're empowered and that they feel as though men are taking something away from them by engaging in, children, childbirth, copulation, keeping the species going. By doing that, we're somehow bad people by expecting that of women, the only ones that can actually do it. It's not our fault. But apparently, creating that wedge between men and women is in the neo-Marxist playbook, and it's designed to destroy the backbone of a nation. Because if a man and a woman no longer trust each other, they vote for different interests, they misalign when it comes to what they want for the future of their country, and it makes it very difficult for you to actually vote as a group in your own interest when half or maybe a third of your entire group have been brainwashed to hate the country and love this weird, suicidal, empathetic push for immigration. It's been very successful, but it's something that I hope can be broken with this kind of unity, because if men and women can't be brought together to save their own children, then there's a big fucking problem in this country.
So if it's happening, they effectively create the moral high ground by being against that stuff. That's the reason why.
The elites overlook it, they look the other way, they provide no protection for English girls.
And I think that's what's really engaged and supercharged this movement. Is the usually, you know, a lot of these types of movements, like especially like these nationalist movements, like I'm going to be honest, they're primarily men. It's like 95% men. And I think still in the case, it is the majority men even now. But the difference is that it has engaged a lot of women now because there's been a compelling argument made for advocating for women's safety.
Yeah, this country won't be great again until we bring back the sexes, until we start acting as one identity and one group rather than being separated by these wankers, absolute scumbags, these traitors in education and politics that have just driven a wedge between us and have done everything they can to make sure that it stays a raw, festering wound that will never close.
Base, pissed off women at least? Yes, exactly.
English girls don't matter to the elite scum in this country. They matter to us, though. They matter to us.
Yeah.
In Lockburn, Rochdale, Telford, thousands of English girls have been violated. Their innocence stolen, their futures shattered by these organised gangs. And what do our so-called leaders do? They
what do they do?
Up. They silence the truth for their multicultural fantasy. I don't want a multicultural fantasy. It doesn't work. The experiment failed. I want an English for the English. An England for the English. But we say no more. Our daughters deserve safety.
You don't know what's actually happening. The reason most of this started is that Pakistani Muslim men were targeting thousands of girls under the age of 14 and forcing them into prostitution. Well, that's not really what the problem is. And before you clip me, listen to what I'm going to say. It's not the fact that they were doing it. It's the fact that acknowledging, addressing, and talking about it was considered unconscionable. That's the reason why it was a problem. If it had just happened and then the people who had done it went to jail and it was openly discussed... It was the fact that it was hidden. You weren't able to talk about it. And again, they were told, basically, the implementation, I think, was that it was like a bad thing to discuss. It was allowed to continue. Yes. And so that's what really radicalized people. Yes, obviously them doing it is bad. Of course, it's, wow, what a surprise. It's bad to do that. But it's more than that.
It is more than that. It is more than that, because when you find out that your government's been lying to you, like not just covering things up, which is really, really bad, but actually full on just straight lying to your face. And the things that you're annoyed about, like the things that have really pissed you off, the things like going wrong with this country, the massive immigration, the grooming gangs, right? When you find out that not only did the government know about all that, but it lied to you, but then you find out that it's actually imported 150,000 Afghans or something around that mark with all their extended family by stealth. People smuggled an entire fucking army into the country and then made the press. They put a gag order on the press to make sure that you weren't allowed to talk about it for, what, almost 3 years now? So the betrayal was bad, right? We felt betrayed. But now, there is something that is way beyond that. Way beyond that. It's not angry anymore. We're not angry. I think the entire country is out for blood. I think we're out for blood now. Now, I'm not saying violence. I mean, we are out to change everything. And for every single person that's done this to our country, we're going to find you, arrest you, and prosecute you. And we don't care whether you're a politician or a king. Now, I'm just saying that's what I think the sentiments of the country are. I think that's what Asmongold is picking up on here. I don't think he understands just how raw these emotions are, because he's looking at this from the outside, but even he is understanding just how significant this moment is.
Considered a hate crime? Yes. If we talk about it, you're racist? Exactly. And I think that eventually, if you tell people they're racist for talking about something, eventually they're going to agree with you. And that's
No, they're not going to agree with you. They're just going to completely ignore you. They'll be saying, okay, this is what I want. Oh, you can't have that. You're a racist. No, I don't care. That's what I want. I'm going to get it. You can call me that all you want, but that just makes you part of the problem now. And trust me, in my frame of mind and the nation's frame of mind right now, you do not want to be part of the problem.
a very scary thing.
And our daughters deserve justice, finally. And it doesn't stop there. Islamic terrorism ravages our cities. Manchester, London, Westminster Bridge.
Can I be racist,
our
please? Not in chat.
Red with the blood of the English. Bombs tear our concerts, knives slashed through our markets, and our people live in fear. Who can forget the 22 young people that died at the Ariana Grande concert? Who can forget that? They were children. They came to our country and slaughtered our kids. There should be no surrender to them. We should...
Exactly. She's completely right about all this. The it's Islamic terrorism, not Islamic. Islamist. Here's the thing. Here's what I find to be really fucking ironic. You don't see Dubai or Saudi Arabia taking these clowns in. Because they fucking know.
I don't believe that Dubai and the Saudis are completely innocent in this, the same as I don't believe that Israel is completely innocent in this. There's too many leaked documents and there's too many people talking about flooding Europe with the Islam horde. There's too many people and there's too many clips of people talking about doing this to Europe and this happening for it just to be a weird coincidence. So I don't believe personally that there's these people just getting off scot-free. Same with China.
They know what they're up. They know what the hell is going on. They don't want to deal with that. Absolutely not.
Back every single time and tell them they do not belong in these lands. They belong to me and to you. Our cities, once beacons of British pride, are now battlegrounds, and we're told to accept it as diversity. We will not accept it. We will not let terror define our children's futures. Not in a million years.
No, you have to, guys, or you're racist. You have to. If you don't accept all that, if you don't accept your children being preyed on, then you're a racist. You should feel bad about the immigrants. Feel bad about them, guys, the poor immigrants. Think of the journey that they had to go through, all of the countries that they had to travel through to get to the wonderful land of England. We should take care of them and let them diddle our kids. Or you're a racist.
Our young Englishmen and women, the heartbeat of our nation, are being cut down by foreigners who have no place in these lands to begin
She's
with.
mad.
From leaving
Holy shit.
to death in broad daylight by jihadists, to the countless stabbings on London streets.
And this is also another issue. I think there's definitely a religious component to this too, where you have a lot of people who, again, like the idea that you can't criticize Islam, you can't criticize behaviors of people who are Islamic, etc. Like the
or Jewish
praying in the middle of the street stuff. This is obviously going to radicalize people. It will massively radicalize people. And by the way, whenever I see some random person that's praying in the middle of the street, stopping traffic, do you want to know where that doesn't happen? It doesn't happen in Dubai. It doesn't happen in UAE, as far as I know. I bet it doesn't happen in Qatar either. And I bet as sure as fuck doesn't happen in Saudi Arabia. What?
So where did they send all of their bad apples? They just don't have any bad apples, huh? Maybe they just sent them a little bit west. Just sent them west. Like, go on, lads, go west. Just piss off. So there's a country out there with your name on it. You just stop wherever you feel like it, but you're just not welcome here. Go on you go.
Why the fuck do they put up with it whenever the countries that are that religion don't? And
well, they're not your friend, mate. They're not your friend. They're not friendly countries. I don't think it's a coincidence, but we're not getting to that. But yeah, come on, Asmongold.
The reason why, I'll tell you the reason why. It's because they're afraid of being seen as racist. That's the reason. And the moment that these people stop being afraid as being seen as racist will be a very, very bad time. And I want to say that the reason why I've been advocating and talking about this a lot is that I think that the end result of this behavior is going to be a mass radicalization of the entire population to an extent that they're able to exercise a military action to do something that could be unspeakably evil.
No.
And I can see
the British are not like this. We've never been like this, but we will deport them all. And any of them that try to resist or anything like this, I'm sure if they resort to violence, it will be a very bad time for them, a very bad time. But I do believe that the next person that gets in, if it's not Nigel Farage and Reform UK haven't been co-opted by Mohammed Yusuf, then if the Reform Party gets in as it is right now, it's just going to split the country apart because we're angry now. Now imagine we vote in Reform UK expecting them to do things and Nigel Farage either just doesn't do them, talks about a load of shit for a while and makes promises and doesn't do anything, or says that he's a little bit too sick now and hands over the reins to Mohammed. I don't think the country would be able to deal with that peacefully. Then we'll see something. If we're betrayed by the next party, we'll see something horrific happen. But if we're able to get something in and get something through now, this is our last chance, I think, then there's a chance the country could do this peacefully.
See that happening. I can see this brewing right now, and I can't see how anybody can't see that. You're playing the radicals? Yeah, I don't want to. That's the thing. Why are you doing propaganda for them? Let me, real quick, I don't want to spend a whole lot of time talking about this, right? What propaganda do you think that I'm spreading here? Chat's full of Israeli Zionists and you're a terrorist too, Zach? I'm a terrorist? Okay. Then why... why... and this is what I'm saying.
So, he's an anti-Semite, a far-right Nazi or whatever, because they translate Hitler's speech. I don't know where that's come from. Yeah, they don't pray there, right? So now accusing us of, so he said that we're not religious enough. So why are you doing propaganda for them? So this guy is just anti-Western, specifically anti-English, it looks like. So he's a wanker.
Right, is that you have no problem looking at people as Zionists and they're Israelis, talking about them being bad, but now you're talking about being Islamophobic. See, this is exactly what I'm discussing. This is the reason why people are radicalized. It's because of people like you.
Yeah. Wanker.
You're the reason why they're radicalized. And this is what's going to keep happening.
The shit stirring, the gaslighting, calling people racist because they're trying to protect their country. People like this are definitely part of the problem. I don't think a lot of you guys will be able to do this for much longer in the UK and not expect some serious backlash, like whether it's verbal or, God forbid, physical. I don't think people will put up with this shit anymore.
Idiots in chat? Yeah, I wasn't really reading chat, and so like now that I'm waiting for this person's response. Islamophobia, that's all? What if I said...
I don't give a shit about Islamophobia, right? Anyway, the point is, I like the idea that even a moron, and I'm not calling Asmongold a moron, but even a moron can understand the situation and how dire this is. And they can understand the motivations of the English, of the British, right? Because I say the English because I'm English. If you're a Scottish person making a YouTube video and you say that because blah, 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 the Scottish, I'm not going to get upset by that because you're Scottish. I'm not going to ask you to talk about the English if you're Scottish. You think I get on Freedom Dad's channel and I'm like, hey, dude, you need to start talking about more about the English. What are you doing? You bigot? No, he's going to talk about Northern Ireland because he's Northern Irish. So it's perfectly acceptable. Anyway, I do see things changing pretty quick. I mean, I believe this footage is pretty old, but this is an Englishman being arrested for shouting, "Jesus is King," where the Bakabazi bastards can go to their open-air prayers. They can do their open-air prayers. They can stop traffic. They can block roads. They can intimidate people by surrounding churches and praying to the church. There's a lot of things that they can do, it seems, but there's very limited things that we can do. And I know why. It's because they want to shut down any form of dissent before it starts. But they just don't realise that it's not one or two people. It's not one or two little pieces of tinder that will set things off. The whole country feels like this. There is no stopping this. And you can try and suppress it. You can come out with your new online speech safety bills, but people will find a way around it. And the BBC are just as bad. They don't report on this, or they gaslight you. And like one of the main reasons people are pissed off is that you're not talking about this, and then you're not assigning blame to the correct people. You're just blaming us for being far right, and that's just winding us up even more.
Now to the UK, where illegal immigration has become the #1 issue in the country. And there has been some incredible reporting by the likes of GB News and some of the newspapers about human trafficking gangs and illegal migrant hotels.
The government human trafficked over 100,000 Afghans, and those are just the ones we know about. The government is doing this.
Costing unfathomable sums of money. But one media outlet is copping a little bit of flack, and that is the BBC.
Anti-migrant protests spread last night to Diss in Norfolk, where residents turned on the BBC.
Hi BBC, I just want to ask, you know how you all covered up the sexual assaults and rapes perpetrated by the Muslims in Rochdale? Is that what you're planning to do in Diss as well?
And YouTube, one of the worst platforms for censorship on the internet. This would have been solved long before it has been if you let people talk about this and stopped deleting their channels for talking about this. Because I remember lots of people were talking about this many, many years ago, but their channels got disappeared. Mine was one of them, over a decade ago now. So if this was just allowed to be openly discussed by our media, by the online tech companies, this problem would have been solved. And we wouldn't be at the flashpoint that we're at now.
Are you going to let young girls suffer because you're incompetent, because you're told not to report on the truth? Is that what's going to happen?
They're walking.
That's good, leave. Don't answer what the public have to say, just leave.
And this is women, guys. These are the women finally standing up. So women out there watching this channel, I know there's only like one or two of you, but you don't realise how much power you girls have got. All you need to do to change this country is stand by your man. Because he's out there. He's been doing this for a long time now. And he's been targeted. He's been set upon. And he's been maligned in such a way that made him feel as though he was a bad guy for doing the things that he thought he was supposed to do. Now you ladies are finally standing up and realizing that men are not the problem, that actually that person that you love and you cherish is trying to help you and trying to help your country. Now that you're standing by your men and you're getting out there with your own voices, everything is changing. And again, this is why they go after women. If you can co-opt the women of a country to your cause, the men will follow. And of course, guys, we've got people on the other side as well, the ones that haven't woken up yet or the ones that have malicious intent. And let's have a look at what they act like and what they sound like.
I had the pleasure of going to Edinburgh today for what I thought was an anti-Donald Trump protest, which actually turned out to be a Palestine, climate change, trans rights mega mix of left-wingers who turned out to be quite nasty. Trump had wrecked America and
regain it.
Lots of people say their mojo's back. The stock market's at record highs. There's zero illegal immigration.
No.
Should we talk about illegal immigration, for example? He was voted in to stop the southern border situation last month.
He's tanking our economy. And you know that inflation has never been higher. All his promises, he hasn't.
The stock market's at record highs.
Well, that's.
Yeah, who cares about the stock market though?
Not what I care about.
Immigration,
Who are
GB
you
News.
with? Oh, of course, of course, of course. No, I'm not talking to you.
Oh, you don't want to talk?
No, because
Oh, okay.
how can you live with yourself as a human being?
Oh, sorry, you don't need to shove me.
You are evil. You are evil.
Oh, I don't think
and
my kids...
everything that GB.
I don't think my mum would say that.
No. Oh, what would the children in Palestine?
She's a psychopath. And you've got another one in the background. Look at that fat little meathead. She's primed, isn't she? She's like, oh, I can smell blood. I can smell blood. I can see that redhead, that Karen is clipping off right now. There's an opportunity to join in. Either that or she just smelled some food. I don't know which one. Anyway, the point is that these people are crazy. She's not even fucking English. Get her deported straight away. Back to America, you stupid bitch. Gone. Get out the country. I don't have time for these people. We don't have time as a country for these people. They are deluded, guys. They will keep protesting, you saving your country right up until the last person, the very last Englishman dies. They're mental.
I don't know how you can all be like frogs in boiling water.
Are you okay?
I'm not okay.
I think I'll leave you.
I'm not okay.
You're getting a little bit aggressive.
Yeah, no shit, you're not okay. You look deranged. Look at your face. Look at that one as well, sniffing around in the back. Oosh.
I'm just here to have a chat with you.
What does GB?
I mean, she looks like that thing from the Goonies. Hey, you guys. Oh, I shouldn't take the piss out of people, especially when they look like this. I mean, it's not their fault. She's probably the point is, guys, I'm sick of this. I'm sick of these women. They're all mental. These protesters, they're filled with nihilistic boomers, retarded people. I think probably people with dementia, because there's a lot of those that are just like, they brought straight out of the nursing homes. And unfortunately, deranged women and homosexuals. So a lot of people that really don't care about the country of this, a lot of people that don't care about the future, a lot of people that are self-absorbed, so their lifestyle maybe doesn't lend them to think about their future or their children's future, if they have any. They're usually very selfish people. They're narcissists. They only care about what's good for them. They say that they're trying to protect other people, but really by doing this and being at these protests, all it is about getting their own enjoyment from this. It's that feeling of, it's the endorphins, right? It's the endorphins that get released when you think that you're doing a good thing, that you should be proud of, that you're fighting for something, right? And that's what they're doing there. They're getting high. They're getting high off their own bullshit. They literally feel good being there, and that's why they are there. And they feel good because they think they're better than everyone else. She got really animated there and really, really energetic when she found the opportunity to start calling him a racist. That's what she always wanted. That is what makes her feel good. She gets high from calling other people names that allow her a higher status or a higher feeling of one's self. Like if you think that you're better than other people because you care about other people more and you get high from that, which is why you go to these protests, then that's a problem with you. Because you're not helping the country, you're really hurting it. You're just a moron who's getting high. You're an addict. I mean, it is true what Asmongold says here. I mean, as an outsider looking in, it is interesting to get their perspective and see how much of this they can really pick up on. And he's pretty much there. He's about 95% there. There's a few nuances that I think that an outsider probably will miss out on. But ultimately, he understands that the British people have not just been betrayed, we've been lied to, we've been gaslit, and we've been called names and locked up for even noticing that this was happening. And as a result, what would have been quite a bad scandal, what would have been quite a bad reaction, but would have been over if dealt with, is now turning into something that is changing our society and radicalizing it in a way that I think he might be right. I think it will make the Second World War and the Nazis, the bad guys, I think it might make them look kind of tame. If this keeps going and the government doesn't do anything about it, it's going to be bad. I think he's 100% true on that. Anyway, guys, if you do like the channel, make sure you're still subscribed, and I'll see you later. I hope you enjoyed the episode. It's not really an enjoyable thing to sit through and watch, but it is interesting having someone else's perspective. Let me know in the comments what you think, and I'll see you next time.